Hello everyone. Today we are going to start with a new topic, digestion and absorption. What actually is digestion? We will see the definition, the breakdown of complex food into simple form which is absorbable actually. Into such a form which is absorbable is called digestion. So it's a process of breakdown of the complex food into simpler form. So digestion actually is of the food that we consume, and that is consumed in the form of macromolecules. The macromolecules are usually complex, that is the carbohydrates, the proteins and all the bigger food particles, and therefore it has to be digested or broken down into such a form which is absorbable. So this process is called as digestion. This requires a particular system which is known as the digestive system. Since we are studying this in human body, we are going to see the human digestive system. Now, actually the food that we consume is the process of nutrition. And nutrition is divided into 5 steps. The first step is ingestion. What is ingestion? It is the process of intake of food. After ingestion, the food is digested. We just discussed what is digestion. The third step is absorption. The digested food is absorbed by the blood. Then it is assimilated. The digested food is assimilated. This process is known as assimilation. This is basically the conversion of the food into protoplasm of the cell. This process is called as assimilation, and whatever is not digested is removed out of the body by the process called as egestion. Let us not confuse egestion with excretion. Excretion is the removal of the excretory materials or the waste which are formed after metabolism, but egestion is actually the removal of undigested waste which is not actually the part of the metabolism. So this is simply the removal of the undigested waste in the form of feces. These are the 5 steps of nutrition. Let us see the components of the human digestive system. The human digestive system is divided into 2 parts: the alimentary canal and the digestive glands. The alimentary canal starts from mouth and ends up in anus. This is almost 6 to 9 meters in length. We will be seeing it in detail later. Let us see what are the parts or the organs which form the alimentary canal. As I said, the first part is the mouth. Then comes the oral cavity, which is also known as the buccal cavity. The buccal cavity has 3 parts: the teeth, palate, and the tongue. These 3 are present in the oral cavity. After the buccal cavity comes the pharynx. Then comes the esophagus. The esophagus is the food pipe. Esophagus opens into stomach. Then comes the small intestine. The small intestine is divided further into 3 parts: duodenum, jejunum, and ileum. And the last is the large intestine, which is divided into cecum, colon and rectum. The opening of rectum is the anus. So the alimentary canal starts from mouth and ends up in the anus, and this is a tube like structure. At some places it is very narrow, like the esophagus is a very narrow tube, somewhere it is larger like the stomach, and this is a tube which is almost of 6 to 9 meters in an human adult. Okay, so this is the alimentary canal. Now we see the digestive glands. The digestive glands we study are the salivary glands, the liver and the pancreas. These are the associated digestive glands, and these glands will pour their digestive juices or their secretion into this alimentary canal at different places when we see each organ in detail. So this is the layout or the organs that compose the human digestive system. The 5 steps of nutrition that we studied are completed in these parts only. So we will see which parts are involved in ingestion, digestion and all the other steps that we just discussed under nutrition. Now the first thing that we saw was the mouth. This is the part which helps in ingestion of food. This helps in the intake of food. If this is the human face, then this is the mouth from which the food is taken in. This is the oral cavity from where the food will go in, and this is the nostril and this is the nasal cavity. Both of them are very closely situated, therefore I have drawn it in this manner. So this is the nasal cavity and this is the oral cavity. So mouth is a very small part. How can we define the mouth? This is actually a slit. It is a horizontal slit in the ventral part, the ventral surface of the body, in the ventral surface of the face, and it is guarded by 2 lips, the upper and the lower lip. So the mouth helps in ingestion. It helps in the intake of food. It is the horizontal slit which is not open all the time because the lips are guarding the mouth. Whenever it is required, the lips help in opening the mouth for the intake of food, and rest of the time the lips close. So the upper and the lower lip help in opening and closing of the mouth. So this is how the mouth helps in the ingestion of the food. Just after the mouth over here, and where the incisors of the buccal cavity, that is the teeth is present in the oral cavity, where the incisors are present, there is a small attachment between the lips and the teeth, the lower jaw, the incisors of the lower jaw. There is an attachment. We call this attachment a thin membranous attachment as vestibule. So between the mouth and the incisors of the lower jaw, the attachment that is present is the vestibule. This keeps the organs at place. Now let us see the next part, which is the buccal cavity. Now the 3 parts that were included in the buccal cavity are the palate, the teeth and the tongue. This is the figure to show the parts of the buccal cavity. This part is the tongue. Here is the upper jaw and here is the lower jaw. I have not drawn the teeth in the lower jaw. the arrangement of the teeth in the upper and the lower jaw is the same in an adult. 16 teeth are present in the upper jaw and 16 teeth are present in the lower jaw. We will be studying this when we will be taking this particular part, the teeth. This is the upper jaw, the upper lip and the lower lip, and these are the teeth which are arranged. This part is known as the palate. So let us see first what palate is. Palate is the roof of the buccal cavity. Whatever is present in the upper part of the mouth or the buccal cavity is the palate. So we can define it as the roof of the buccal cavity. This is divided into two parts, the hard palate and the soft palate. The hard palate is at the anterior region. When you just try to touch your anterior part of the roof of the buccal cavity, you will feel it to be hard because it has the palatine ridges. These ridges are formed because of the certain ups and downs that is present due to the bones, and this is the palatine ridges which help in the holding up of the food, while the soft palate is present at the lower end, that means at the posterior end. This is the extension of the soft palate. We call it as uvula. This is the part which is the extension of the soft palate. So this is the posterior part. The part that is just behind the teeth is the anterior hard palate, and when the tongue rolls down at the back, then it is the soft palate. And this uvula actually closes the internal layers, where the uvula closes it when you open up the mouth to eat the food. I told you that the nasal cavity and the oral cavity are very closely placed. So when you open the mouth, the uvula closes the internal layers so that the food does not gain entry into the nasal cavity, and therefore this is a extension of the soft palate, and the soft palate becomes very slippery. This facilitates the food to be swallowed easily, while the hard palate, because it has the ridges, it allows the food to be in the mouth for the chewing part, so that the teeth and the tongue do their function. The teeth helps in chewing, and also the tongue helps in providing the taste, because the taste buds are present over here, and also it was believed that the taste buds are present in the palate, and so comes the term palatable food for the very delicious food that one eat. So the hard and the soft palate form the palate, which is the roof of the buccal cavity. The anterior part is hard palate and the posterior part is soft palate. This helps in holding the food for chewing, and the soft part helps in swallowing the food. So this is all that we have to study about palate. In my next video, I will be dealing with teeth and the tongue. So we will be finishing the parts of the buccal cavity in the next video. I will be taking this separately. So this is all about the anterior part of the alimentary canal. We studied the mouth and the buccal cavity, one part of the buccal cavity. If you have any doubts, you can ask me in the comment section, and you can also refer to the questions in the description box. Thank you.